I saw it happen. My husband's hand drifted over my bowl, his fingers parted, and something tiny fell into the soup. He had no idea I was watching. My whole body locked up. Ryan turned back toward his father and picked up the conversation about work as though nothing had occurred. My heartbeat was so loud in my own ears I was stunned no one else could hear it. I fixed my eyes on the bowl. Chicken noodle soup. His mother made it every single Sunday. I could see nothing unusual on the surface. Whatever he dropped in had already vanished, dissolved without a trace. His mother's voice cut through my racing thoughts. She was looking at me with concern, asking whether I felt all right, saying I'd gone pale. My name is Bryn Caldwell. I'm 29 years old, and my husband had just poisoned me. Just tired, I told her. The whole family was gathered around that table. His parents, his sister Michelle with her husband, their 2 kids darting around the room. A picture-perfect Sunday dinner. Except the man sitting next to me had dropped something into my food with the intention of killing me. And I still couldn't figure out why. Ryan ate his own soup without hesitation. Cheerfully, even. He went back for a second bowl and told his mother it was incredible. She lit up at the compliment. Then he turned to me, his expression pleasant. Aren't you hungry, honey? There was something wrong behind his eyes, a coldness, a stillness. He was waiting for me to eat. I lifted my spoon. My hand was steady. Just letting it cool down, I said, and stirred it slowly while my mind ran at full speed. I needed to think. I needed a plan. I'll be right back, I said finally. Bathroom. As I stood, I caught it, a brief tightening in Ryan's jaw. Just a flicker. I walked down the hall, locked the bathroom door behind me, and pulled out my phone with trembling fingers. Then it hit me, I couldn't call the police. Not yet. I had no proof. Only what I'd seen with my own eyes, and that wasn't going to be enough. I needed to be smarter about this. I stared at my reflection. Think, Bryn. Think. Ryan had been off for weeks, maybe longer. Coming home late, changing his phone password, stepping into the garage to take calls he didn't want me to hear. I'd noticed every bit of it but hadn't pushed. I'd told myself he was planning something for our upcoming anniversary. A surprise. Now I saw it all differently. I ran cold water over my face, took a slow breath, and walked back out. The conversation at the table had moved on to Michelle's kids, their school play, soccer practice. Ordinary family talk. My soup bowl sat right where I'd left it. Ryan glanced at me, then at the bowl. You okay? You were gone a while. I'm fine, I said, picking up the spoon again. His mother was already talking about the apple pie she'd made for dessert. Michelle laughed at something her husband said. And that's when I saw my opening. Ryan's mother stood to go check on the pie in the kitchen. Michelle turned to deal with one of her kids. Ryan's eyes dropped to his phone for just a moment. Every single person at that table was distracted at once. I moved without hesitating. I swapped my bowl with his mother's. She hadn't touched hers, too busy playing hostess. The bowls were identical. Same soup, same level. I set mine exactly where hers had been and placed hers in front of me. My pulse thundered, but my hands didn't waver. When Ryan looked up, he saw me lift a spoonful from what he believed was my bowl and bring it to my lips. The tension in his body released. He smiled. Good, right? Delicious, I said. His mother returned with the pie. Let me just finish my soup first, she said warmly, settling back into her chair and reaching for the bowl in front of her, the one that had been mine. The one Ryan had poisoned. He saw it too late. His face drained of color. Mom, wait, she raised the spoon. Mom, don't, but she had already swallowed. Ryan's hand shot halfway across the table and then froze. His mother gave him a puzzled look. Don't, honey. He pulled his hand back and forced a smile. Don't fill up too much. Save room for the pie. She laughed and told him she'd made plenty. She took another spoonful. Under the table, Ryan's leg bounced frantically. I could feel the vibration through the floor. His eyes traveled between his mother and me in a continuous, anxious loop. I ate from her bowl calmly, unhurried, as if everything was perfectly fine. His father was talking about golf. Michelle was wiping crumbs off her daughter's chin. No one noticed Ryan quietly unraveling, no one except me. I checked my watch. 6:42. If something was going to happen, I needed to know when. His mother set down her spoon when the bowl was about half empty, saying she wanted to leave room for dessert. Ryan let out a barely perceptible breath. Maybe nothing would happen. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I had just made a catastrophic mistake. Then she coughed. Once. Softly. Ryan's head whipped toward her. You okay, Mom? Fine. Just went down the wrong way. She reached for her water. 1 minute passed. 2. He watched her with an intensity that no one else seemed to register. She laughed at something Michelle said. She looked completely fine. 3 minutes. She reached for her water again. Her hand shook slightly. Is it warm in here? His father said it felt comfortable to him. 4 minutes. She pressed her palm flat against her chest. I feel a little strange. Ryan was on his feet. Maybe you should lie down. I'm fine, honey. Just 5 minutes. The color left her face. She gripped the table edge with both hands. I don't feel right. Michelle shot up from her chair. Mom. 6 minutes. His mother tried to stand and her legs gave out. Ryan caught her before she hit the floor. Call 911, he shouted. His father already had his phone out. 7 minutes. Her eyes rolled back. She went limp in Ryan's arms. Everyone was shouting, chairs scraping, children crying. But I sat completely still and watched my husband's face, watched the fear spreading across it. Not grief. Not the helpless terror of someone watching their mother collapse. Something else entirely. The fear of someone who realized they'd been caught. The ambulance came in 12 minutes. Paramedics moved through the house fast, checking her vitals, firing questions at anyone who would answer. What had she eaten? Any known allergies? Current medications? Ryan's father answered them with a shaking voice. They loaded her onto a stretcher and started in 4-line. They were taking her to Memorial. Ryan went with her in the ambulance. His father followed in his car. Michelle stayed behind with the kids, crying, saying she didn't understand how this could happen when her mother had seemed perfectly fine just an hour ago. I wrapped an arm around her shoulders and told her it would be okay. But my mind had already moved somewhere else. The soup bowls were still on the table. I suggested Michelle take the children upstairs and get them settled. Her mother would want them looked after. She wiped her eyes, nodded, and led them up. The moment I heard her footsteps on the stairs, I went to work. I found plastic bags and rubber gloves under the kitchen sink. I carefully transferred what remained in Ryan's mother's bowl into a sealed container, then bagged the bowl itself, the spoon. I did the same with the bowl I'd originally been given, the one I'd pretended to drink from. Evidence. All of it went into my purse. Then I made a phone call I never thought I'd make again. My brother Jason. 2 years of silence between us. Bryn, I need your help. Right now. No questions yet. He worked in a medical lab. He could run tests on the soup. He got the address from me and said he'd be there in 20. I cleaned up the rest of the kitchen until everything looked untouched. My phone buzzed Orion, texting that they were running tests at the hospital, that it might be a cardiac event. He asked where I was. At your parents' house helping Michelle, I sent back. The typing indicator appeared, vanished, appeared again. Then, stay there. I'll call soon. I read that message twice. He wanted me to stay and wait. I thought about why. Jason arrived 30 minutes later. I met him at the door and handed him the containers before he could even ask. Test everything you can find. Toxicology, chemical analysis, everything. He looked at the bags, then at me. Bryn, what did you do? Just test them. I'll explain everything later. This is going to take time. How long? 48 hours at minimum. Make it 24. He took them and left without another word. I went back inside. Ryan came home at 3 in the morning. I was sitting in the living room with the lights on, waiting. He looked hollowed out, exhausted and frightened. I asked how his mother was. Stable. They're keeping her overnight. The doctors think it might be her heart. He sat beside me and dropped his face into his hands. I don't understand. She was fine. She's always been so healthy. I watched him carefully. He was convincing. Genuinely convincing. If I hadn't seen what I'd seen, I would have believed every word of it. These things happen sometimes, I said quietly. There aren't always warning signs. He looked at me. I'm glad you're here. He reached for my hand. I let him take it. His palm was damp. There's something I need to tell you, he said. My chest seized. What? He hesitated, looked away. I've been under enormous pressure lately. Work issues. Money problems. I didn't want to put that on you. What kind of money problems? Bad investments. I lost a lot. We're in serious debt, Bryn. He paused. 200,000. I kept my expression neutral. Why didn't you say anything? Because I was ashamed. I thought I could fix it on my own. He squeezed my hand. But watching my mom tonight, it made me realize that life is too short for secrets. We'll work through this together. I almost believed him. Almost. But I knew what he wasn't saying. $200,000 in debt. And I had a life insurance policy worth $500,000, one he'd taken out 6 months ago, telling me it was smart financial planning. I'd signed the paperwork without a second thought. Now I understood exactly what that policy meant to him. He wasn't looking for a way out of the debt. He was looking for a payout. We'll figure it out, I said. Together. He hugged me. Over his shoulder, I stared at the wall and counted hours. 24. That was all I needed. 24 hours until Jason called. The following morning, Ryan left early for the hospital. I told him I'd come later. The moment his car disappeared down the street, I went through his office, his desk, his computer, every file I could find. The insurance policy was there. I read it carefully. Accidental death clause. Double payout. $1 million. The bank statements were there too. Gambling debts. Threatening correspondence from people who were clearly not patient about being repaid. He was desperate, and desperate people do things that would otherwise be unthinkable. My phone rang. Jason. I have preliminary results, he said. Bryn, there's digitalis in that soup. A significant amount. The cold started somewhere in my stomach and spread outward. What is digitalis? Heart medication. Therapeutic in small doses. In large doses, it induces cardiac arrest. Could it kill someone? Without question. Can you prove it was deliberate? The concentration is far beyond anything that could occur by accident. This wasn't a pill that fell in by mistake. Someone put this there on purpose. I closed my eyes. Can you send me the full report? I'll email it within the hour. Bryn, you need to go to the police. I will. Soon. I hung up. But I wasn't going to the police yet. Soup samples and a lab report weren't enough. I needed Ryan to confess. I needed to catch him in the act. His next text arrived minutes later. His mother was being discharged that afternoon, and could I pick up her prescriptions on the way over? I stared at the message. He wanted me to retrieve her medications. Something clicked into place. Sure. Send me the list. He sent a photo. 3 prescriptions. One of them was digitalis, for her heart condition. That was his source. He'd been taking his mother's medication, grinding it up, slipping it into my food. How long had this been going on? I thought back through the past several months, the persistent headaches, the dizziness, the exhaustion I'd attributed to work stress. It hadn't been stress at all. He'd been building up the dosage slowly, methodically, working toward something final. Last night was supposed to be that final moment. But I'd moved the bowls, and his mother had swallowed what was meant for me. I picked up the prescriptions and drove to his parents' house. His mother was resting on the sofa, pale but alive. She thanked me, said the doctors had told her it was some kind of cardiac episode, that they'd adjusted her medication. Ryan appeared from the kitchen, took the bag from me with a grateful smile. Our eyes connected for a moment. "I'll put these away," he said, and headed upstairs. I counted 30 seconds. Then I followed without making a sound. From the hallway outside the bathroom, I could hear him opening the medicine cabinet, shifting things around. Then the soft sound of counting pills being tallied. And then something else. A grinding, rhythmic sound. He was already preparing more. I pressed record on my phone and pushed the door open. Ryan spun around. On the counter in front of him was a mortar and pestle, white powder inside, and scattered pills, his mother's pills. We stared at each other. "What are you doing?" I asked. His face went smooth and blank. "Making sure Mom's pills are organized. Some of them are difficult for her to swallow, so I crushed them." "That's not what you're doing." Something shifted behind his eyes. Something dark. "Bryn." He set the mortar down with deliberate calm. "I know what you did last night." "I know what you did last night," I said. "You put digitalis in my soup. But I switched the bowls. Your mother ate it instead." His jaw went rigid. "That's insane." "Is it?" "Because I had the soup tested. The report shows lethal levels of digitalis, the exact same medication you're grinding up right now." He went very still. "You can't prove anything." "I have the soup. I have the lab results. And I have you on recording at this very moment, standing over your mother's crushed pills." I raised my phone. His gaze moved to it, then back to my face. "Why would I hurt you? I love you. You need the money." 500,000, doubled to 1 million for accidental death. You're buried in debt and running out of options. Something in his face changed completely, like a layer peeled away. Whatever had been underneath was not the man I'd married. His voice came out quiet and flat. "You're smarter than I gave you credit for." "Not smart enough, apparently, given who I married." He took a step toward me. "The recording doesn't matter. It's just audio, could be anyone, could be fabricated." Another step. "And the soup?" "You removed it from the scene without authorization. Tampered with potential evidence. Any halfway decent defense attorney destroys that in court." He was right. I knew it. But I wasn't finished. "I also copied your files." The insurance policy, the bank statements, the threatening messages from the people you owe money to. The pattern is clear. A pattern isn't proof. Maybe not. But your mother's hospital records will be. They'll show digitalis poisoning. And when they test these pill bottles, they'll find your fingerprints, your DNA. His expression hardened. "Then I suppose I need to take care of this before that happens." He moved faster than I expected. He grabbed my wrist and twisted. My phone hit the floor. "You should have just eaten the soup, Bryn." He shoved me backward into the wall, hard. "We could have done this the easy way. Quick. Painless. But you had to be clever about it." His hands found my throat. The pressure built. My vision started to fragment at the edges. And then a voice from the doorway. "Ryan, what are you doing?" His mother. Standing there, staring. Ryan's hands went slack. I gasped, doubled over, pulling air in. His mother's eyes moved across the room, the crushed pills on the counter, my phone on the floor, still recording. Ryan started to say something. She cut him off. I heard everything. Her voice was barely above a whisper. Her face had gone completely white. "You tried to kill her. Your own wife. Mom. Please. You poisoned me instead." Her voice cracked on the last word. Ryan dropped his hands and stepped back from me. "It was an accident. I didn't mean. Get out of my house." He didn't move. She said it again, her whole body trembling, tears running down her face. Ryan's father appeared in the doorway behind her. He'd heard it all too. "What have you done?" his father said. Ryan looked at each of us in turn, surrounded, exposed. Then he pushed past his parents, down the stairs, and out through the front door. His father already had his phone up. "I'm calling the police." I bent down and picked up my phone. Still recording. I had everything. Officers arrived in 8 minutes. I handed over the audio recording, the soup samples, Jason's full lab report, and every financial document I'd copied from Ryan's office. They located Ryan 3 hours later, attempting to cross state lines. He was arrested and charged with attempted murder, 2 counts. The trial lasted 5 months. His defense attorney tried every angle available, painting me as paranoid, claiming I had fabricated the entire scenario, even arguing that I had poisoned his mother myself in order to frame him. But the evidence left no room. The digitalis in the soup was a chemical match to his mother's specific prescription. His fingerprints were on the mortar and pestle. The audio recording captured everything he'd said. And when prosecutors subpoenaed my medical records from the previous 6 months, they found traces of digitalis in my own blood work. He had been poisoning me gradually for months, allowing it to accumulate, timing a lethal final dose. The jury deliberated for 2 hours. Guilty on all counts. 25 years to life. I sat in the courtroom and watched them lead him away. He looked at me once before he disappeared through the door. No grief, no regret, only fury at being outmaneuvered. His mother found me after the sentencing. She said she was sorry. That she should have seen it. That she should have known. You couldn't have known, I told her. She held on to me for a long time. Thank you for saving my life. You saved mine, I said. If you hadn't walked in when you did, I didn't finish the sentence. There was nothing left to say. That was a year ago. I live in a different city now, with a different job and a life that is slowly becoming my own again. I don't date. I don't trust quickly. I doubt I ever fully will. But I'm here. I'm alive. Some nights, when it's quiet, I go back to that dinner table. I see his hand moving over my bowl. I see the moment I chose to stay silent, to stay calm, to be more careful than him. People have told me I should have called the police the instant I saw what he did. Maybe that's true. But I had no proof in that moment, only what my own eyes had witnessed. I needed something solid, something real. And I went out and got it. That's what kept me alive. Not fortune. Not fate. One decision, made clearly under pressure when everything was on the line.